So Code Geass' sequel was announced back in November 2016. The first preview trailer for it came out pretty much a year ago, and then after that we got nothing. Until now, that is. So yeah, you could say it's been a while since we've heard anything at all related to Code Geass Lelouch of the Resurrection. But with the recap trilogy now complete, the director finally made some comments not only regarding the upcoming third season, but also the conclusion of the original series. Yup, that's right ladies and gentlemen, the decade-long mystery revolving around Lelouch's fate at the end of R2 has finally been revealed. Well, sort of. I've heard plenty of cases from both sides. Oh, Lelouch is alive, they clearly show his face at the end of R2 as the driver of the cart. Which, to that I would say, the only footage that we have of it are these 240p toaster versions that are apparently supposed to be from the original Japanese version. But then we've got the other people who follow the director's official statement from a magazine back in 2008 where he constantly says that Lelouch's story was at its end, even going as far as to reference Lelouch's statements from the first episode as Lelouch's logical end. Personally, I had accepted the fact that he was dead long ago. Yeah, I had hoped that he was the driver of the cart, but then my friend just ended up convincing me otherwise. And yeah, that was that. At least it was until the sequel literally announced Lelouch's survival in the title. But even then, how could the director just go back on his words like that? I mean, I guess he didn't explicitly say Lelouch was dead and just his story was, but that's obviously not true either. So that brings us to where we are today. Is Lelouch even back, and if so, how is that even possible? Well, the answer to that turns out to be kind of a cop-out, to be honest. Long story short, they went with alternate ending. Yep, you heard me right. Directly from the comments posted by the director and writer themselves from Bandai Namco Art's website, Goro Taniguchi and Ichiro Okouchi states this: "At the time of the television series, I intended to close the book on Lelouch's story after the final episode. However, this film, Glorification, the recap trilogy's third film, it's a little different. It wasn't intended to be an end, but a beginning." So, what exactly does that mean? Well, it would appear that changes were made to the ending of the third recap film to allow for a more fluid connection to be made between the ending of the initial series and the beginning of the third series. The changes aren't necessarily meant to demean anything that happened in the original show though. As you just heard, Lelouch's story was meant to end as it did at the end of R2, once again confirming that, yeah, Lelouch was probably dead at the end of the original series. But with this Glorification film out now, we now have a canon alternative ending that leads to a completely different route than what was intended from the original series. Let me just repeat that and simplify it in case you didn't get me the first time. There are new scenes in this recently released Code Geass recap film that changes the original ending from R2 and acts as an alternate route to the Code Geass universe. So there you have it. R2's ending is the intended end to Lelouch's story. Whether he's dead or not in that, you're free to debate. The Glorification ending, on the other hand, is the new canon that will define the upcoming series and onward, and it is confirmed that Lelouch will return alive and well as a lead character, and with no bullshit either. Everything should make logical sense according to the staff. Personally though, I'm not sure how I feel about now having two routes in the Code Geass universe. Don't get me wrong, I'm glad they're trying to preserve the integrity of the original series, but it just feels even more like a cash grab now. Almost as if to say, if season 3 doesn't turn out too well, then I guess just keep liking the original ending because, after all, they're both canon. I honestly think they could have just continued the series without Lelouch and focused on the other characters in a world after the Zero Requiem. But they just felt the need to bring the man himself back. I just hope that they put as much thought and effort into this series as they did into the original. But now that everything's been clarified, since the cause of Lelouch's survival hasn't been revealed yet, I'd like to share the top theory comment from my previous analysis video on the Season 3 trailer. Of course, you're welcome to share your own in the comments below if you disagree, but this definitely seems to be the most plausible. So, Dulisha K basically wrote that just like how Charles had a combination of Geass and V2's code which gave him immortality, Lelouch was able to take his father's code for himself and make himself immortal since he already had the Geass. To expand on that a bit more, Chris Dodd had pointed out that even though the code was transferred to Lelouch while he was in the thought elevator, it would not have been active yet because it would appear that in order for a code to be activated, the person who inherited it must first die. Death has been long assumed to be the trigger that makes a code holder immortal. But that's pretty much just the very summarized version of it. I'm sure someone can leave a much more detailed version of this theory in the comments below. But yeah, that's what I wanted to share today. I absolutely love this show, so you already know that anything Code Geass related will be up on my channel. And if you haven't already seen my trailer analysis, then go ahead and check that out through the link in the description. I tried to be as thorough as possible, but it's always cool when someone else points other stuff out. So as always, thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this type of anime content, then you already know what to do. So until next time, ciao!